We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue. We are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of I'm No Joe, your home for all things combat sports and the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like Ben Bronco. The views and opinions presented on the I'm No Joe channel belong solely to the person expressing them, no one else. If we say it, that means we meant it. That being said, this show does contain adult themes, adult content, and general shit that you shouldn't be letting your kids intake. Be advised, viewer discretion is recommended. Proceed at your own risk. You've been warned. Oh, wee. If it's Sunday, what did I say? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the What Did I Say show, the show where we hold ourselves accountable for all the shit talking and prediction making we did on the I'm No Joe podcast over on Thursday, and to some extent over on our Tapology group. Welcome, folks. We have got an interesting recap for you this fine evening, but before we get into the story from the City of Lights, how the fuck you doing over there, brother?
Not too bad. It'd be a lot better if I didn't hear my kid squealing in the background, but that is what it is. He's playing video games, losing his shit. It's the weekend, long weekend for him. So,
Right.
I'll say quite impressed with this week's card, considering the card when I looked at it at first, I was like, meh. But the way those guys showed out, it was one of those ones where you're going, fuck, maybe it was undersold.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it was just because of all and there were several fallout fights and rescheduled fights that kind of fell out at the last minute, but it definitely feels like they didn't promote this card nearly as much as they should have, probably considering as historic of an event as it was. First ever UFC event in France, headlined by a Frenchman from Paris. I mean, you'd think that it put a little more marketing behind that, but that's why we don't work for the UFC apparently.
Exactly. But I will say those that were there, they did fucking show out. Because you know what? From the beginning all the way to the end, there was only like one or two fights where I was like, eh. But for the most part, they were all pretty fucking solid across the board, especially for what they were and who was fighting in them.
Right. So we actually talked about this off air. Generally speaking, when I get all my shit set up to do the update stream that I do for our Tapology live picks on Saturdays during the UFC main events, I usually adjust my alarm clock to make sure that I've got some kind of a preparation warning alarm to let me know it's getting close to time to set the broadcast and shit up. And for whatever reason, this past week, I just did not think to adjust my alarm. So I woke up on my own in the middle of John Makdessi and Nasrat Haqparast getting ready to start their fight. So I missed almost the entirety of the prelims. But luckily for me, somebody didn't.
I was on board, man. And to be honest, from the get-go, they were fucking solid. From that weird 11 a.m. starting time, I get it. They're in France, so you got to adjust your schedule accordingly. But they were solid right off the bat. Surprisingly enough, I think Stephanie Egger coming out there right off the get-go against Perez. Egger might not be getting the credit that she deserves. Her judo is pretty well on fucking point. Now, is she a world breaker by any means? No. But she also has very limited time in the octagon. So what she's had so far is showing that she can be very dangerous if she gets some more time in there to iron out some of the kinks that she's got. But she showed out. And let me tell you what, I will say the way she handled Perez and knowing what Perez was going to do was fucking absolutely fantastic. The downside is on the other side of this, Perez is going to be in the UFC for a while, and I have a feeling she's going to end up something along the lines of a female Jordan Levitt. Namely because everybody wants to see her twerk. She twerked at the fucking weigh-ins. She said she was going to twerk when the fight was over with if she won. Fortunately, she didn't win. She got subbed in the second, so we didn't get to catch that. So no free shows for anybody. But you know what? It's personalities like that that end up staying in the UFC no matter how terrible they are. And being as this is her first fight under the big lights, she didn't look absolutely terrible, but she definitely wasn't good enough to edge out a very wet behind the ears edger.
And well, on that note, if that is something that you are interested in, her extracurricular activities, as it were, more so than you were her fighting prowess, I would recommend maybe go look at some of the highlights on Twitter, not anywhere else, because you're going to get edited. On Twitter, you get the raw edited footage from this past weekend's BKFC Thailand 3 events. That should satiate anything you feel lacking from this particular event. Also, show you exactly why we didn't talk about that particular event on the actual show. But if that's what you're interested in, they're out there. I'm telling you, they're out there.
It's out there. Although, can we say something? The Thai kickboxer that's over there now, he's dangerous by the looks of it. He's going to cause some problems in BKFC, and I like it.
It could get very interesting over there. And that's, I showed my wife the highlight earlier from the Bukaw fight. Like, the worst thing in the world you can do in a fight is show a literal world-class Muay Thai fighter exactly where your weakness is. And the first time he touches dude's body, you see dude grab his gut and go, ooh, and then try and get back up. And you see Bukaw like smile a little bit. And then like 7 hurricane fucking body shots later, that dude crumpled to the ground, holding the front of his ribs and crying on the canvas. Like,
oh yeah, couldn't get back up. It was fucking brilliant. That dude's going to be a problem for people, because if you can find that weakness that quick, like he did,
yeah.
Oh, I'm excited to see what he does over there.
Yeah, if you've never seen Bukaw's Muay Thai fights, holy fucking shit. That dude is one of the definitions of why people were scared to try and bring Muay Thai to the United States. That dude is fucking dangerous in a controlled and precision kind of way. So yeah, he's going to fuck people up in BKFC over there.
Oh yeah. And then, moving up into that second fight on the prelims card there, you had Khalid Taha, which I was excited to see him come back and get back in there. But man, Christian Quinones, for coming out the Contender Series, he looked fucking solid. Let me tell you what, I have a feeling a lot of that has to do with where he's training and who he's training with. He's training with Brandon Moreno down in fucking Mexico, and Moreno is not a fucking slouch, so you're going to get some hard work in. And you could see with the footwork and all of that he is definitely training alongside Moreno, because there were some solid pickups. Now, mind you, Christian Quinones, younger brother of a other UFC fighter, Quinones, or former UFC fighter.
I was wondering about that. The mustache.
Yeah, minus the mustache, yes. But yeah, younger brother. I don't think his brother's with the UFC anymore. I think they cut him.
I think they cut him in one of the last rounds, yeah.
Either way, he looked fabulous coming off the Contender Series and coming in there and beating a seasoned Khalid Taha, excuse me. Jesus Christ, can't talk. But Taha, definitely disappointed in. I think the time off has not helped him at all. He needs to go back to the drawing board or possibly throw in the towel, because there were some times when watching him, he looked like he was a very strong prospect in that bantamweight division. Now, not so much. The way Quinones moves in there and his footwork and his ability to be elusive, holy shit, he could cause problems in a bantamweight division with a little bit more time, iron out some of those fucking kinks and rough edges that he's got. But if he keeps working with Brandon Moreno, the sky is the limit for him right now. And he looked fabulous. I mean, first round knockout. You've done in what, 3 minutes 10 seconds or something like that.
3:15. Yeah, they're calling it 3:15 officially on the UFC site.
It was fucking fabulous to watch. The dude has some definite legitimate talent. Keep an eye out on him. Like I said, still a young prospect, but he looked good in his first outing. So coming in against a seasoned veteran, definitely a hell of a way to introduce yourself to the UFC. Not to mention, second stoppage in a row on the prelims here. relatively unknowns, which is fucking fantastic to watch.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, back to back, I'm going, what the fuck did I turn on Saturday? I was not expecting back-to-back finishes out of a bunch of relative nobodies.
Right.
But seeing where some of these guys are coming from and their backgrounds, you learn a lot really quick about the kind of fighters they are. And Quinones shows he's going to be a problem in bantamweight. Maybe not right now. Give him about 2 years, maybe 3 years, and he's going to start causing waves in there. I really think so because, man, for as young as he is in his career, he looked absolutely fantastic. That footwork, the way he was just his mobility and just being elusive was fucking fabulous to watch. The dude's got some legitimate talent. And God, training with Brandon Moreno, you the sky's the limit right there. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant though. Yeah. And there was the lightweight bout coming in, Benoit Sundini and Gabriel Miranda. That was a lot fucking more lopsided than I thought that fight was going to be. To be honest, I thought Miranda was going to put up more of a fight than he did. But Benoit Saint-Denis said, France will not be denied. We will not be pussies on this day. And he started the whole French crowd out right. The second he finished him, that arena went absolutely bonkers in the second round. And from there on out, you could hear that crowd just progressively getting louder every time a French fighter stepped in. And it was fabulous to see. I'm glad the UFC finally broke that fucking barrier of getting into France. And because I think with the way that crowd reacted, they're going to be along the likes of the UK, where they're going to get multiple cards a year because it was just fantastic to see. Even towards the end of the last fight. Of course, they booed fucking goddamn Tuivasa, but that's to be expected. You got to root for the hometown boy. At the end, though, they did platform. They were a very educated crowd because you could see they weren't just booing because people were fucking grappling or whatever. So you could tell they were educated about what they were watching, and it was very excellent to watch the hometown boy Sundini go in there and do work and get the old knockout in the second round. Now, towards the end of the second, but still fantastic to watch. Definitely one worth watching and going back and watching because that earned him a performance of the night bonus too. Not to mention,
this is the only fight from the prelims that I actually saw any kind of a highlight from, like, since them being really talked about. And it's not even ironically the kick that he set that fucking fight ending sequence up with that the highlight I saw was. It was what happened to him in throwing those kicks, because it was like 3 in a row, I believe.
Oh, his foot was all fucked up.
His big toe split in half. Literally, you could put my pinky between the pieces of his big toe and it was just bleeding on the canvas, and he never gave any kind of an indication that his shit was all fucked up. He just weathered right through it. He split his fucking toe in half throwing kicks.
Yeah, and if you watched at the end of the fight when they were getting ready to call out the winner and all that, Cutman's down there on his knees while he's trying to get that fucking stop bleeding, while they're like, get the fuck out of here. We're trying to call this fight over.
Oh, man.
And look, he didn't even take a limp going out of the octagon either. So that tells you what kind of tough bastard he is.
Fuck yeah.
And the only fight I can say I was thoroughly surprised with on the card, on how things really played out, was the next fight. Zaim and Figlak. I thought Figlak was going to end up going in there and fucking walking all over him. But again, the France card would not be denied. The French came out there and just absolutely dominated. That poor Polak didn't know what hit him. He's a solid striker for being a young guy in the lightweight division. But he got absolutely worked. And watching Zaim you could see the evolution in his game. It has evolved to where he's definitely going to start being an issue for people. Is he going to break into the top 15 anytime soon? I don't think so. But for any of those guys coming in off a contender series and things like that, or the guys that are trying to get to the 15, time's going to be a problem and in their way. And those types of
He's
fights
still
that he's
real
going to have
young
coming up.
too.
Well, if you look at his grappling improved tremendously. Granted, Figlak is not known as a grappler, but he dominated him in every aspect of the grappling world, from takedowns to ground control. It was just an absolute one-sided affair. And it was still a boring fight. That one was the most boring fight on the entire card, in my own opinion, even more so than that fucking what the fuck was it? The Gomez and Aaron's fight. That one was a little bit boring to me, but not as boring as this one was, which was a bit sad, but still, it was not a bad fight. It's not something I'm going to introduce somebody off the street of, hey, this is sport you need to watch this fight. Definitely not. But I could, even to a couple of casuals, I'd say, you know what, that fight's still worth checking out. You're going to be a little bored with it, but it's worth checking out because it did highlight a lot of what happens in what I'll say the air quotes for those of you who listen and not watching, the low end of mixed martial arts. And I say low relatively because they are in the UFC, so they're still in the upper echelons of things, but you could tell both of them are still relatively green. But overall, not a bad fight to watch, though. It was not great. It was probably the worst fight on the card, in my own opinion. But then again, there was a lot of good fights on the card that it was hard to be denied to call a really bad fight when there were so many good ones. When you kind of stick that one in there, it does look like a dog turd when you're holding it next to a piece of gold. That's just how it works. Yeah, fantastic card overall. As far as the prelims are concerned, I was quite impressed. I was really impressed watching the next fight coming in John McDessie and fucking Nasrat Hakprast. Those boys went to absolute fucking war. They did beat the brakes off of each other, and Hakprast edged him out. And I'll say he edged him out because relatively that could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But that was a good solid. If you were looking for a banger fight, those two, all they were doing was standing and trading. And it was nice to see Hakprast get himself back on the fucking wagon there, because there was a point where we thought he was going to be big problems for people in the lightweight division. Had a little skid there, and seems to have got his shit back together. So kind of nice to see.
Yeah, he was down in the dumps for a little bit there for damn sure. It's definitely seems like he's kind of pulled himself up out of that funk and got back on the track that we saw him on it at one point in time, that gave us the thoughts that he might be a dangerous prospect. It seemed like he really just spent the whole fight not even so much doing his own thing, but just stopping McDessie from ever getting any kind of fucking momentum. Anytime McDessie would land any kind of combo, Nasrat would literally take like a 5-6 step jump to the fucking side and make him completely fucking reset and completely adjust, fighting on his fucking terms. It was real nice to see Nasrat actually doing his damn thing again.
Oh yeah, and he did it intelligently, which was fucking fantastic. Because there's been some fights where we've seen him in where, oh, you're gonna hit me, I'm just gonna hit you back. No, he fought back intelligently, and he didn't run it on his own terms, which was really nice. And that's not to take anything away from McDessie, because McDessie was a fucking absolute gamer. He kept walking him down, just straight walking him down. And that was the only problem was he wasn't trying to cut him off; he was just walking him down. So, couple side steps to the left or the right, and he was out of danger again. But still, McDessie's been around for a good 10, 12 years now. So there's a reason why he's been a staple in the lightweight division for so long, and it's not because he's a chump. He's not a top 10 guy by any means, but he's not a fucking chump.
Title convo anytime soon, but he's not a full-on fucking can either, for damn
sure. No, and you got to think he's been in the UFC since I think around 2010, 2012, somewhere in there. So the guy's been around for a long time, and so he's fighting at that, what I'll say, the gatekeeper position, where you kind of got to beat him to try to get yourself into the fucking rankings. And you know the way Hakprast fucking handled himself. he's not going to get 15 out of it, but he might get a fight with the number 15 guy out of that fight.
Yeah,
So
I think that's probably more likely. I think he's going to be fighting 15. I don't know if they're going to give it to him. I think he's going to have to fight for it, but I agree. I think that's going to give them the motivation they might have needed to give him that matchup and let him try for a number.
Especially now showing that he's got his shit back together. So, I mean, that fantastic fight though. That one, if you want to go back and watch, that is one that I would recommend go back and going and watching from this card. Albeit not fight of the night or anything, still a fantastic fight and showing the high level fight IQs on both sides. So it was well worth a watch on that one. And then you get into that premier prelim, which I thought was going to be an absolute banger. And if you looked away for 2 seconds, it was fucking over. Well, I should say, if you looked away for 19 seconds, it was fucking over. That fucking T kick straight up the fucking middle set up an absolute nasty finish on Stolfus. Dustin Stolfus didn't stand a chance after that T kick. He was so fucking rattled.
That whole entire fight took place in the time it took me to get OBS loaded and YouTube to catch the stream from it so I could start the update stream. Like I literally, as they were walking into the cage, had loaded everything. And in the time it took me to get OBS to confirm everything was working, send a signal, YouTube was getting it, signal was excellent, and literally move the mouse to click go live, the fight was already fucking over behind me. I was like, what the fuck did I just miss?
It was absolutely wild. Like I remember I looked down because I heard my phone go off because I had a text message, and it was from one of my buddies watching the fights, and all of a sudden, fucking, I hear, oh my god, out of the desk. And I look up, I'm like, fuck. Had to wait for him to show the replay, and then I had to go back and watch the whole 19-second fight.
Right.
I was like, shit. Absolutely fucking brilliant kick up the middle. That might be the first Russian that we've seen in a while that has a legitimate good striking, not just grappling based. Now, with that being said, there was another one on the card too that showed legitimate striking as well. So I kind of got to put a little point on there, kind of going,
Right. Well, and to be fair, Abus Magomedov with that kick up the middle that just folded fucking Dustin right out of the goddamn gate, secured himself the 4th fastest debut time in UFC UFC middleweight history last night in doing that Kia right up the fucking center. Like, that's how you make a statement in your debut. And he was calm, cool, and collected while he did it too. He never lost his shit. He never blew out, fucking went crazy. Like, he stayed fucking nice and composed about it. So,
and he gave a great post fight.
Yeah, like, you let him know.
He definitely put the whole division on notice. Although I will say, I do want to slap the shit out of the reporters for the post-fight presser that are asked him, how would you beat Adesanya? He doesn't beat Adesanya. He's way too green. Don't get me wrong. That kick was beautiful.
Right. Yeah. But in his debut fight, a fucking 19-second kick knockout, like, don't start talking about
albeit I'll give him a good credit. He said, I would wrestle him to death. And you know what? We've seen that. Wrestling is, if you can get him to the ground, that is not his strong suit being down there.
Yeah.
But, still, that reporter needs to be slapped. You don't ask a guy on his first fucking fight in. Like, look, I get it. You guys want to make the next big thing, but reporters are not the ones who make the next big thing. It's the fighters themselves, how they handle themselves, types of finishes they're doing. Don't ask him stupid fucking questions like that are non-relevant to him. That isn't relevant to him for at least another 3 years. And I say at least another 3 years because look at Hamzat. We've had Hamzat in for what? Since the end of 2019, right?
19, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost 3 years now, yeah.
We're almost 3 years, and he still might not get a title shot because of fucking Leon Edwards fucking that shit up. And good on Leon, but I'm just saying, it's at least 3 years out before you can talk Magomedov getting a fucking shot at any sort of title. And that's if he stays the course he's on.
Right, yeah, that's if you can get spectacular fucking finishes every time out. Like, look at what Khamzat had to do to get to where he is. Look, he spent his first 4 fights. He still didn't even amass a single round's worth of fucking time. Less than 3 minutes for his first like 4 fights in 2 different weight classes, by the way, while he was doing that, all in the span of literally less than 6 months. That's just to get him on the map, to get him into the path that he's on right now. So, yeah, definitely a great fucking debut. But I agree. Some of those reporters need to sit down and shut the fuck up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Although, hell of an entrance into the UFC, and kudos to him for that.
Yeah, no shit.
Because Stolfus is he's not anybody that's going to be easily walked through by somebody off the street. So, and it was good on him. And hats off to him, because a hell of a fucking kick up the middle. God, it was
Fuck
good.
yeah. Now, I have to admit, I didn't even think about it until they were announcing it during the walkout. This matchup got made. We talked about it 2 months ago or so. We talked about it a little bit on the build-up on the show the other day. It until they were walking out, and I believe it was John Gruden mentioned it, that Nathaniel Woods was coming up to 145 to fight Charles Jourdain. For some reason in my head, Jourdain just went down to 35 because he's talked about being something he's interested in doing. He said he can make 35 easily, and he would like to bounce back and forth to show people that it's something that he's capable of. In my brain, when this fight got announced, for whatever reason, I just assumed that's exactly what was happening, that Jourdain was cutting down to bantamweight. No. This was Nathaniel Wood coming up to 45. And I gotta fucking say, if given the option, don't let that man go back to bantamweight.
No.
He looked spectacular at 145 fucking pounds, man.
Yes, he did. And coming up to fight Jourdain at 145, and Charles Jourdain's no walk in the park at all.
No, that dude's crazy.
Not to mention he never has a boring fight, which he didn't, because this was a pretty fucking exciting fight between the two of these guys. Yeah. But Woods was just fucking untouchable during that fight. And I mean, he looked like fucking Superman in there, just miss, whack, whack. Well, it was absolutely brilliant. Like, I was surprised that Wood did not knock out Jourdain a couple times.
I agree. Some of those fucking shots he landed, like, it sounded like somebody slapping a heavy bag with a fucking aluminum fucking T-ball bat. Like, there was some solid fucking crack thuds when he fucking connected, and you saw the impact. Like, there were a couple moments where you're like, oh, are we about to see like a Mike Tyson delayed fucking fallback? Like, no, he stayed in it, but god damn, if it wasn't for lack of fucking trying. That being said, though, yeah, that'll bring us to the one that TJ mentioned earlier. I would say this probably was the weakest fight on the whole damn card, and it kind of sucks because William Gomez was one of the fucking hometown boys. He was the dude who was supposed to help bring some of that fucking French hype to this fight, and to his credit, Aaron's was not willing to give a fucking inch. He didn't come to fucking lose. He knew that he was up against fucking hometown odds, so he came to bring it. Unfortunately, though, they're both fucking soup cans. Like, this is exactly why, in my opinion, lower or unranked new dudes should not be on fucking main cards. Like, that's literally what the prelims are for. Get those early fights in, get those unranked fights in, get the guys who are making their debut and need to get their feet underneath them, let them fight on the goddamn prelims, so that fights like that fucking crazy fucking up the middle kick from Magomedov versus Stolfus could have been on the main card and had this fucking crowd just losing their shit for the next fucking fight. But no, we got fucking Gomez versus Aarons. And to be fair, Gomez was outworking him clearly all the way around, but only just slightly. It was like he was a quarter step ahead of Aarons for the majority of the fight. And the biggest thing, in my opinion, that he had going for him wasn't anything he did in the what would be like 13 minutes and 25 seconds of the first part of that fight. It was when he landed that crazy fucking triangle attempt at the very fucking end, where he showed any inkling of like actual intention or like fucking hunger for the fucking win.
Yeah, and also, speaking of that, gotta give Aaron some fucking credit. That fucking triangle was tight as fucking got
Fucking
himself out of
A.
it. Because he was in that triangle for all of a fucking minute. Like
At
how
least
he
a minute,
was,
yeah.
it was sunk deep. How Gomez wasn't able to finish or get into an armbar out of that, I don't know, but
I expected the armbar rollout when it started to loosen up a little bit. That's the natural transition in that situation, but no, that's not how we played yesterday.
Aaron was fucking gnarly for that, and my hat goes off to him because you don't generally think of that out of a fucking new guy. Usually, you see those new guys fucking just fuck it. No, he fought out of it. The dude was willing to go out on a shield, and I fucking love that about him. So kudos to him. I hope he does get another shot just for that.
Yeah.
Gomez, he looks like he had some potential, but it's hard to say with that performance.
Yeah, let's see him outside of France is the way that I look at it. Bring Gomez to Vegas, put him in the apex against some crazy corn-fed fucking American wrestler who's going to really give him the goddamn business, and let's see what he's really fucking capable of. Let's see if that triangle was really just an opening because of the situation, or if it's really a demonstration of his potential abilities.
And I hope it's his ability, but only time will tell. And we know he's going to get another shot because he got the W. It wasn't an impressive W, but the W gets you that second shot in the UFC usually.
Yeah. So that'll bring us to the second Russian that TJ alluded to earlier, Roman Koppeloff versus Alessi Dakirico. Yeah. Man, I'm not a fan of Dakirico in any fucking stretch of the imagination, and I'm not fucking shy about it. I think he is the fucking stereotypical egotistical Italian, just always assumes that he's better than everyone he's put up against. Thought he was better than reporters for a while because they weren't interviewing the losers of matches that he was in, which is fucking weird stance to take considering that he wanted to do interviews when he lost matches. So like I don't know. He's a whole fucking weird can of worms, but he, for the most part, in rounds 1 and 2, really seemed to have a clear edge, at least early on, against the young Russian here. For whatever reason, though, round 3, Koppeloff gets him up against the fence and just tees off with this fucking Street Fighter 2 7-button fucking combo that just landed every shot, and it looked like a fucking video game. After he landed that last shot, it almost looked like he stepped back a little bit and Dakirico just fucking face planted, like dropped, energy gone, life bar went to 0, character falls.
And what was wild about that is Koppeloff looked fucking gassed to all hell in that third round.
He did.
Like, he was like, oh yeah, I forgot. I have one energy boost bar left. Let me hit the special button real quick. Because that's what it looked like in those remaining seconds. Because Dakirico fucking had him dead to rights that fight. He really did. And then just fucking screwed the pooch there at the end. Which, look, Koppeloff, his striking, considering he was getting worked most of that fight, his striking was pretty fucking solid.
Yeah, it was.
And that's without even taking into account the finishing sequence. Like, I'm talking rounds 1 and 2, even though he was behind, in my opinion, his striking still looked solid. Like, not to mention, we said it while we were shooting shit back and forth. He looks like a fucking bigger version of fucking Chase Hooper.
Like somebody Stretch Armstrong Chase Hooper just a little bit.
Yeah, added a little more fluff and fucking mass to him.
Yeah,
that's exactly what he looks like. And at least that's what he did look like, because he had the same curly Jufro shit going on.
Yeah, the fro going out the whole 9 yards.
I think that was Askren's first son, and Chase Hooper must be the junior of the junior.
Right, same dad, different mom situation.
Yeah. Big Russian mom. Yeah, but no, he's got some potential, and to know that he didn't give up knowing that he was not doing that well.
Yeah.
The dude's got a fucking ton of potential there. And gonna finish in the third towards the. What a fucking way to go! If you're gonna do it, play it out and go for broke, and he did.
Yeah, he
So,
did.
speaking
He
of
got
going for
himself
broke,
he got the finish from a crazy fucking combo. So,
yeah.
hey, good on you, man. Good on you. That being said, that'll bring us to probably the strangest fight of the evening, in my opinion. Literally during the last minute shuffling of everything, the Nasruddin Imavov versus Joaquin Buckley fight got moved up to the People's Co-main event. It was originally going to be the card opener and then got moved down to the People's Co-main event here earlier, as like I mentioned earlier, everything got shuffled around. This whole card ended up fucking weird as well, the way it played out. But this is one of those fights that it makes me wish, despite the fact that more often than not nowadays, there is a replay representative. More often than not, it's another referee sitting cage side. So if something happens, there's someone there that is specifically there just to rewatch a sequence. If we've got someone there that can do that for problems, why don't we have at least one person constantly monitoring the fights for something that the in-ring referee might miss out but is clearly significant? Like, I don't know, maybe the dozen times that Imavov was fucking cheating and not getting caught, when the multiple times he did get caught only got him quote unquote hard warnings and no points taken away. uh he got hard warned for cheating, I believe, 4 fucking times in this fight, and never had any actual fucking penalties from any of the times he was clearly fucking around.
Yeah, that was fucking ugly. And not to mention, if we're gonna talk ugly, his total lack of respect for the ref, which
Yeah,
blows my fucking mind, because every goddamn fighter, no matter how bad the beef is that I've ever seen, if a ref separates them, that fighter walks the fuck away, stays in the corner where he puts him.
done. Yep.
This is the first cocksucker. I'll say it, cocksucker. He's lost all respect for me. Like, not that I had a lot to begin with, because I didn't really like him from the get-go, but he lost every bit of respect or fucking anything from me. If you can't follow the simple rules of the ref while you're in the cage, you don't deserve to be there. You're no different than a fucking wife beater, in my opinion. That
We
type of
talked about
shit.
it in the moment while this shit was happening. Connor threw a fucking dolly through a bus window to try to get to Khabib. Literally. He threw a fucking metal dolly through a bus window, a bus full of people, willingly to try and get to Khabib. And when they got in the cage, he still listened to the fucking referee when they separated them.
Yeah. And fucking absolutely ridiculous. And not to mention, as he's going over to check on Joaquin, fucking Imavov was right fucking behind him. I'm going, are you fucking kidding me? Go back to your corner. You know better.
Yeah, stand in the neutral fucking corner. No coaching.
It was fucking ugly. Now, speaking of fucking going for broke, can we talk about Buckley in that third fucking round?
Oh my
Man,
God.
if there would have been a fourth round, Imavov would have been fucking done. Because Buckley had his number in the third bad. Where that Buckley was in the fucking first and second, I don't know, but that fucking third round, he absolutely beat the dog shit out of him.
Right. That, and then the fact that one of those fucking judges gave that fight 30-27 to Nasruddin Imavov.
Yeah, that one I still didn't get. Like, when I heard that, I was like, are you fucking shitting me? Get fucked.
Like, no card is immune from fuckery when it comes to the judges. Clearly doesn't matter, hometown or internationally, obviously, but fuck all the way off. In my opinion, it was close, but I thought Buckley did more than enough, and the blatant cheating from Imavov should have cost him at least a fucking point, if not 2 or 3, or a fucking DQ after the 5th warning for cheating. But I felt like Buckley should have had that fight because he did do more, in my opinion. but they gave Imavov the fucking weird fucking decision win. So there was that.
Yeah, man, that was a weird one all around. Just Buckley not coming out of the gate hot, and like fucking didn't come hot until the fucking third round. The second that third round bell came, all of a sudden, bam, there he was. So it just ended up being weird all around. Was not the fight I was expecting it to be, and the large amount of beef that was there, obviously, fucking Imavov does not know how to control his emotions.
No.
So he needs to get that shit under control. Because to be honest, that's shit that you get fucking removed for. Like if it was me and I ran that company, you're getting walking papers fucking Monday. I don't care if you got the W or not. If you're unwilling to listen to the ref while you're in there, bye. We don't want your kind here. Instead, it gets him another fucking W, and because of the way the UFC is run, he'll stay on the roster. He'll stay in his number 12 spot or wherever the fuck he was ranked when they walked in there.
Right.
Fucking
you gain nothing from that. Nothing positive from that for sure.
No, absolutely terrible.
That being said, though, luckily that was the last terrible fight of the evening. Unfortunately, that was because we only had 2 fucking fights left on the goddamn card. Yeah, that fight should have been left in the fucking opener if they even left that fight on the fucking main card to begin with. But the co-main event did not fucking disappoint. Robert Whittaker versus Marvin Pittori. Both of them fucking definitely came in there to try and reestablish themselves in the top of the fucking division. In my opinion, unfortunately for both of them, despite the fact that Whittaker was able to control Pittori and Pittori just couldn't stop Whittaker anywhere that the fight went, neither one of them have really done anything to change their game up. Like you could very clearly, we talked about this during the fight, you could very clearly see on both sides of the fucking fence here, all of the holes in both of their games that Izzy exposed in fighting both of these men twice each. Every time Whittaker steps out, he leaves himself open for that fucking counter left that Izzy dropped his ass with. And every time Pittori throws his left, he puts his fucking hand down or his hands down and he leans out to the fucking right and he's open for a fucking counter over on that side over there. Like everything that Izzy did to both of these dudes, they were still doing against each other because neither one of them could do what Izzy did to either of them, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. To me, this showed that they belong at 3 and 4.
Well, the only thing that showed me is Robert Whittaker is going to stay number 1 because he's definitely better than fucking Pittori by a long shot.
Right.
And unfortunately, what that means is that belt is not going to change hands until fucking Izzy leaves the division. If he leaves the division. And being as he's lapping the division, I don't know how much longer he stays there. But who knows? Maybe he may want to pull the fuck it and stay there. We've seen him try to go to 205. That didn't work out quite well for him. It wasn't the worst showing at 205 that we've ever seen, but definitely not great.
Nothing to brag about.
Yeah, he would need to go fucking hit some weights and put on some goddamn weight to be able to do 205. Yeah. But and we even said it when we were talking about during the fight. Whittaker would still be champ if Izzy wasn't there. Because if there was a title fight between him and fucking Pittori, Whittaker would still be fucking champ. Because he caught him a couple times where he looked like he had a chance to shut the lights out. But for some odd reason, that goddamn Italian's head is made out of fucking plutonium or some shit. Because it just doesn't go in.
He's a tough orc, man.
Yeah. He's goddamn bridge troll. And you can't knock out a bridge troll with a fucking good cross, no matter how good your fucking cross is. And you don't call him Bobby Knuckles for nothing. He does have a good fucking cross.
Right. Yeah, no, he was putting fucking leather on Marvin's face hard. And it busted him up quite a bit, but it never really slowed him down, never really had him in like legitimate like trouble, but he was never in a good place. Like, yeah, that was Robert.
Even the head kick that he landed on him, like he landed a straight, clean head kick on him. And it still didn't fucking phase him. I was like, the fuck is going on with this dude? Like, yeah, aluminum Mike Perry could have learned a thing or two about how to have a good chin, you know? I'm just saying.
Oh, shit.
That's all that dude is. He's a fucking, I'll keep coming forward no matter what. I'm waiting for the day that we finally see somebody knock Vittori out and watch that jaw finally crumble. Because when it does, it's going to be a
interesting.
thing of fucking beauty.
That humble pie is going to be just laughably served up fresh from the internet as soon as it happens.
Yeah, because all I want to see is I just want to see what happens and how he comes back from that. Not that I really care what Vittori does, because to be honest, I don't like him. There's something about him that he wants to act like a thug when he's really fucking not.
He's kind of a cunt.
Yeah, that too.
Kind of a cunt.
Just a touch.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, props to Rob for bringing home the W. But I genuinely don't understand what he was talking about in the post fight. He said that, you know, I'm the most dangerous man in this division, including the champion who's beaten me twice. That's not how that works, Rob. That's just not how that works. So good win, bad speech. That being said, though, that'll bring us to the reason that they went to Old Paris, the reason the UFC came to the City of Lights. Ciryl Gane versus Tai Tuivasa, heavyweight 5-round main event. We kind of talked about it earlier. Like, this fight was either going to go one of two ways. Either this was just going to be a brutal fucking walrus slap fight that never got pretty and just waited till somebody wore completely down, or this was going to be an absolute fucking decimation, because neither one of these dudes have the ability to throw soft punches, in my opinion. These dudes both are heavyweights that put everything into every shot, and more often than not are more precise than voluminous. These aren't your Derek Lewis hit you with 85 fucking punches dudes. These are guys who are going to hit you 4 times. 3 of them are going to dizzy you. The 4th one's going to put you unconscious, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they did. They both were swinging.
That was an absolute, to be honest, I'm very thrilled with how this fight played out. Because it showed me 2 things. One, Ciryl Gane is an absolute fucking monster. And 2, Tai Tuivasa has come a long fucking way from where he did when he first came into the UFC. Like, you can tell his fight IQ has gotten better.
Yeah, I was trying to think of how to phrase that. Like, he almost feels like, for lack of a better comparison, an MMA version of Good Will Hunting. Like, he's pretending that he's just a janitor in the back sweeping floors, your average regular dumb dude. And then he sees the problem up in the head of the class when nobody's looking. And he comes up and he does fucking 3 yards of long fractional division without anybody realizing that he's got the fucking smarts. Like, Ty comes off and plays himself down to be just a goofy local yokel, fucking down to earth, salt, you know, fucking regular dude. But he's a bad motherfucker. He's got great fight IQ, and he can adjust on the fly and fucking move like a lot of people, I think, don't realize he's capable of.
Well, yeah, if you looked right out of the gate, that first leg kick he landed on Gane looked a little surprised.
Yeah, you could tell that. What the fuck?
Like, I didn't know you could throw that fast. And he does have a fast-ass leg kick for a guy that's that size. Look, if you could walk up onto the street and you see that him looking a little portly, you would not think anything if you didn't know who the fuck he was. You'd be like, whatever. No, the he's a legitimate problem, and I think he's going to stay at the top of the division for a while, because to be honest, he is a 10-time, God, I hate to say this because this fucking hurts, and I love Derek Lewis, but he's a 10 times better version of Derek Lewis. Because he's got a much more rounded skill set, and man, if he touches people, it can put him out. Now, to Gane's credit, he said it. I did get put out. Yeah. So he hit that fucking mat and woke back up is what fucking happened.
Knocked him out with a shot in the first round, and literally it took Gane falling to the canvas to come back to reality.
Yeah, and why, to be honest, I was surprised Ty didn't get in there and finish him at that moment. Like, I thought the fight was fucking over. But to his credit, Ciryl Gane, absolute fucking warrior. he shook that shit off. He was only shaky leg for probably 30, 45 seconds. And he was right back to it. And what an absolute treat. Anybody who watched that fight got to watch, because it was both technical and slugfest at the same fucking time. Those boys were literally throwing everything they possibly could at each other to finally get one another out. And it just so happened it was Cyril's night. To be honest, it very well could have been Ty's. The only thing that I saw that was a problem for Ty was trying to get in on that fucking 6-inch reach advantage, because that's where he was having his issues. But once he managed to get in there, though, oh man, it was fun to watch. Even when he was hurt, he was still fucking dangerous.
Yeah,
like when you seen him double over from those body kicks, and Gon came.
That was one of the things that surprised me the most. Honestly, I thought that was what was going to spell the end. I knew there was a potential for Gon to stop him, but how I thought it was going to play out, once Gon realized that he was obviously fucking soft to the body, because Ty's not a do sit-ups kind of dude, he landed a hard fucking body shot, and you saw Ty fucking crunch, like we talked about earlier in the Bukaw fight. He crunched to the body shot and then stood right back up and tried to play it off. And Gon, to his credit, went right fucking back and nailed him with like 3 or 4 more in a row. Ty fucking ate him and then cracked him in the face and fucking wobbled Gon back for it. Like,
I think the greatest.
The man is a tough motherfucker.
Minus the fact of what a great showing we got, the best part of that entire fight, outside of the way it finished and where everyone was watching the absolute great amount of sportsmanship during the entirety of that fight.
Yes.
From the right as fucking Gon comes in, Tuivasa fucking their fist bumping before they start, they're smiling. The way the crowds get slid up, you see Tuivasa smile and go, fucking, and they're both smiling and cheesing over it, fucking giving each other dabs during the middle of the fight.
I was gonna say there was a high five moment in the fight. Yeah,
it was fucking excellent. And then the post fight was absolutely fucking brilliant. Cyril Gon did a wonderful job on the mic and said, "No, let Ty have a say, because you know what, he was part of this." And the fucking crowd erupted when Ty started talking. It was absolute. Like, I get goosebumps just thinking about that moment, because it was that fucking awesome. You never see that in the heavyweight division. Those guys literally had the best time that you'll ever see 2 heavyweights ever have during a fight. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind watching a run back of that someday.
No, not at all. I wouldn't be opposed to that in the least bit.
No. And now I think the next fight that's going to end up happening is you're going to see Gon get a shot at the title again. And Tuivasa is probably going to get Curtis Blades.
That's kind of the way I think it's going to shake loose, which honestly, I don't think that's going to be much of a problem for Ty. I have a feeling he's going to Derek Lewis Curtis just like Darius Lewis did. Like, I think that fucking blueprint has been written. And yeah, Curtis is a great wrestler, but he's got a weak chin and it's been exposed several times now, recently even. So that's kind of Ty's game plan. And like, that's his bread and butter. So
it was an absolute brilliant fucking showing. And what a way to send out the Paris card. Like,
fuck yeah.
You want to see what kind of fan base that is? Go watch just that fight. Yeah. Watch the way that they react during the entirety of the fight. They're singing like they sung the fucking national anthem.
Literally, they were French national anthem during the fight. Yeah,
during the first fucking round, when you see fucking Ty go, that was them fucking singing the French national anthem, and you just see Gon cheesing the whole fucking time. Like, those two didn't
paint that fucking smile off his face,
and they didn't even really fuck with each other during that time. They just kind of danced around, let them do their thing, and then fucking went at it. And it was absolutely brilliant. Like, I loved the fucking Paris card as a whole because of that. You could tell educated fans, and they were obviously dying for the most elite level of MMA to finally come to Paris. This is not to take anything away from Bellator coming there, but there are levels to this game, and
it's Bellator coming to Paris kind of felt like the opener before the headline act. Like, yeah, they're technically in the same business. Yeah, they technically do the same thing, but they clearly don't have their act together yet. They're kind of still new at this, despite them being around for a little bit now. And then the UFC comes in and it's a proper professional production and everything rolls out the way you expect it to. And like, this is how it's supposed to be done.
You know, I think the second best thing about that fucking fight may have been watching that panned out view of Buffer fucking introducing and watching the whole fucking crowd just rise up and start screaming with him. I was one of the greatest Buffer moments I've ever seen. Like, I didn't want the close up. I wanted that panned out view that they showed.
Shot. Yeah, the panoramic version of it.
Awesome. Absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see them go back to Paris again because that's the kind of crowd I want to listen to when I'm watching.
Yeah, that's the kind of shit that could rival that fucking Paddy the Batty crowd for damn sure.
Yeah. Apparently, you know what? As much as I hate to say it, us as Americans, we suck as a crowd. Europeans got it fucking down.
Well, I think part of that is because, like, when the pandemic first really hit, we got fights every weekend. We got a dozen or more fights every weekend here. They've never been to France. So the first time they're there, they bring a great presentation and a whole fucking production in the process. Best case scenario, we go to London twice in a year. We're in Vegas every weekend for months straight, week after week after week. We kind of get a little desensitized to it, I feel like.
Yeah, most definitely. The States definitely is desensitized to it, but we also have as much as I hate to say it, a very uneducated fan base as well.
Yes.
Because like you watch
I absolutely agree.
There are a lot of people who they love the UFC. They don't watch any other promotions. They'll watch the UFC, but they also don't understand the intricacies of the game, like your grappling aspects, the fucking those slow moments, the up against the fence moments where a lot of people are like, "Boo, no, just let him bang." No, you're watching the wrong sport to just let him bang. Right. Go watch BKFC. That'll just let him bang on, which is fine. I have nothing against BKFC. I'm just saying,
it's got its place.
The lack of fucking understanding in the US is pretty sad. Like, I mean,
I agree.
Even what was it not this week's card, 2 weeks ago, when fucking DC asked, "Is that a fucking buggy? What's he doing?" And they had to explain to him he's going for a buggy choke. I'm like, that shows the level of lack of what's going on. Like, I was yelling at my screen. I was like, he's going for a fucking buggy choke.
I yelled it as he was bringing the arm around. I was like, he's locking a buggy in?
Yeah, because I think I had Lucas over at the house and fucking I'm yelling, he's going for a fucking buggy. And as DC's going, what the fuck is that? I'm going, oh, Jesus Christ.
Even though we've had one landed, and there was one finished a main card match in Bellator a month or two ago. And then one of the ADCC trials, the finish was a fucking buggy choke, which got international fucking headlines. So you would think DC, of all people, who literally does this for his fucking career, would be a little more educated about shit like that. But
you figure. And I mean, I think then again, I might be a little, I'll call it a sense of jaded in this because I did train at one point. So I do know a lot more than the average Joe. So, I mean, it was weird to see that and know that watching France, they obviously understood. Don't get me wrong. They didn't like when people separated. Like the whole separation thing, I did hear those boos. Like they wanted them either fucking grappling or fucking banging. But they wanted them working, which I'm okay with that. I get that boo. The separation thing, yeah, okay. Like they didn't like the fact that some guys would just get up off the top position because they wanted them up off the ground. But I mean, definitely seemed more educated than the American fans, which is nice to see.
That being said, though, I don't know if it's because we were overseas or because Dana was still trying to let London look better than Paris or what, but they gave the traditional pair of performance of the nights and single fight of the night bonus structure out after the show. Even though both the times they've been to London now, every finisher got a bonus. Don't do that to Paris. I get it, but performance of the nights in Paris were Abus Magomedov for that fucking crazy up the front kick against fucking Stolfus, and then Benoit Saint Denis, because how can you not give a dude who blew his toe in half with a kick a fucking bonus for it? I get it. And then fight of the night, to the surprise of probably no one in the world, the main event, Cirogan versus GaneVsTuivasa. I agree with every bit of those bonuses. I don't see any problem with any of those.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with those. I mean, I guess you could have gave Edgar a fucking submission bonus, but I mean, other than that, that would be the only one I would have thrown on there. Even though there were some good knockouts, you can't give everybody one. I mean, if they did, they would have handed out like 6 bonuses. Although, wait a minute, I'd say you can't do that, but they've done that shit before. So
I said they gave away 9 in London, but you know,
I'm just saying, I
Paris on
feel
the
like they shorted the Paris card here. 'Cause some of those guys could really use it, especially those fucking new fighters. The Edgars, the
trying to make a good
Quinones.
impression in a new market. What
Yeah.
better way to do that than to give some of the local fighters who won extra fucking money and attention? But you know, why we don't work for the UFC, clearly.
That's right. We don't want to make sense.
That's right. We use too much logic. But that being said, that is what we've got for the UFC Paris recap for this evening. Thank you first and foremost to anybody who was tuning in, whether you were here catching this live or you're watching this back on a replay, because this, like all of our bonus shows, do not go to all audio. You have to catch this on youtube.com/I'mNoJoe. However, the regular podcast, the Thursday night shows, if you did miss those the week after they air, do get converted to all audio podcasts on anchor.fm/I'mNoJoe. You can pick them up on your podcast consumption platform of choice. They're distributed everywhere. If you have not yet, join our Tapology group. We are not sponsored by or endorsed by in any way, shape, or form Tapology.com. They just so happen to create a service that we take full advantage of. They allow you to make a free account and pick fights. There's no money involved. It's just for the fun bit, but they keep all the stat tracks for you. We have got a group. It's called I'm No Bookie, all one word together, or group 965. However you need to search it. You are more than welcome to join the group, put your picks right up against ours. And then during every UFC main event, I broadcast a live update stream on this here channel right here, just for the Tapology picks for the folks in the group. If you would like yours in there, we could put you in there as well. You could see a real updating live stream of the picks as the fights play out, with some luscious Adam and Eddie and the Arsons music from our wonderful friends over there. That being said, if you like what we do around here, make sure you are subscribed on whatever platform you're consuming this in. If it is YouTube, please make sure you've got your little notification bell turned on so you don't miss when we go live. If you are on anchor.fm, there are options there for you to set your notification preferences as well. If you would like to help what we do around here, the best way to do that is A, just watch more videos. That tells YouTube you enjoy what we're doing and tries to share it with other people. B, share the videos with other people. If you like it, somebody you know might like it too. C, the best way, patreon.com/I'mNoJoe. For as little as $1 a month, you get your name added as a thank you on every single broadcast that's on the stream, and it gives you access to the unaired and literally unairable things we have on that account. Now, I don't want to harp too much about it, but I will say I've only known of one podcast getting kicked off OnlyFans for being too hot, and you're tuned into it. Now, luckily for us, Patreon are grown-ups and don't give a fuck. So all that glorious content that was too hot for OnlyFans, we brought it over to Patreon. So like a little access, all it costs you is $1. It's there, helps us do what we do, gives you a little something. That being said, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, why the fuck are you still this deep into a podcast you don't enjoy? Secondly, go ahead and give us that thumbs down and then go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. Just get the fuck on out of here and be done with your shit. Being said, that's all we've got for this particular episode. So until next time, boys and girls, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
And don't cheat off your buddy's homework.
Yeah, don't cheat off nobody's homework, god damn it.
lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye?